Hey everyone, Gill Gross here. Post-match, Rafael Nadal versus Jack Draper, Australian Open 2023 first round. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Nadal is through in 4. He'll face Mackie McDonald in the second round. Mackie took out Nakashima in 5, to my slight surprise. This Nadal-Draper match, if you're a Nadal fan, probably tough to watch. If you're a Draper fan, definitely tough to watch. Even from a neutral standpoint here, that was difficult to watch because both players were struggling immensely in their own ways. For Draper, it was physical. For Nadal, it had to do with his confidence and his level. So before we get into kind of what happened in the match, let's just address both of those things, beginning with Draper and kind of what happened with him physically. So in the beginning of the third set, you started to see some evidence of cramping, and he kind of went into shock, I think, for a second there, where he didn't really know how far he could push it or how bad it was going to be. So there was, 5-10 minutes where he really wasn't moving much, and his forehand went way off the rails, and his serve got really slow. But the cramping wasn't really as bad as maybe he initially thought it might be. So he did have like a slight physical rejuvenation at one point, and then ultimately in the fourth set, they played this very bruising rally at 3-1. Long and lots of running, and then boom, it came back with a vengeance, and then Draper had nothing for the rest of the match. I also even think he might have been dealing with some discomfort in his abs, but I can't really fully confirm that. There was KT tape. He did grab it at it a couple of times, so I don't know. The point is, Draper, a couple things happened that were kind of subtle in this match starting in the third set, and at the end of the day, even though he did have some second wind to him, his body gave himself no chance to win this match. Zero chance. So, what was actually happening, the serve speed was going down because he couldn't quite load on the legs. The forehand started to have some consistency issues more and more as the cramping came into play. And then the shot selection changed quite a bit, where when he was pulled wide on the forehand, he was trying to slap winners down the line, which he's very bad at, by the way. So Nadal was using this heavily angled forehand cross court very often, and Draper would end up having to just bail out of the rally. There were also instances of irresponsible net approaches from Draper where it just wasn't really there, but it felt like he didn't want the rally to continue and he wanted to save his legs a little bit, and that came back to bite Jack a little bit. So it wasn't the kind of cramping from the beginning of the third set where it was like, wow, this guy can't move at all. No, he could move, but if you watched with a scrutinized kind of perspective, you could see that there were things that were just off with him because he was worried about his legs. And ultimately, he was right to be worried about his legs because midway through the fourth set, boom, they were completely gone. I feel for him. Real shame. There has been a pattern of cramping with Draper. We've seen it before. Mark Petchey was on the world feed. He has a lot of insights into British tennis all the time. And, he was just saying, and I want to just put this out in the world, that Draper's worked extremely hard to try to solve this. And I'll just say it's not easy, guys. And there's a common misconception with cramping that it means a player isn't working out, isn't working hard in the gym. It's just not true. There's a lot of complicated stuff that goes into this with allergies and hydration strategies, and the science around cramping is atrocious. I mean, it's very, very dodgy, and they haven't quite figured it out yet. So it's all about experimentation, and hopefully Draper follows a similar path to Holger Rune, who had a, very similar match that I can't help but think about against Novak Djokovic, first round US Open 2021. Similar situation. You're playing the number 1 seed on the center court in the first round, and your body fails you. Once again, for both players, it was not new. Hopefully Draper like Rune has, can find a solution for this long term. As for Nadal, couple things that were concerning. I mean, overall, the level is concerning. It was not good. It was not good. First of all, the decline in physicality as the match went on. In the first set, I thought the movement was okay. In the second set, not as much. In the third and the fourth set, not as much. So that's concerning. I mean, we obviously see on the scoreboard alone, this has fleshed itself out, where Nadal is 3-0 in first sets, 0-3 in second sets. What's going on there? I mean, at a certain point, it stops looking like a coincidence. So yeah, the movement out into the corners didn't look so good. The forehand confidence was the other red flag here. It seems like Rafa's confidence is severely wounded. Not shattered, not broken, but wounded. And the reason why I won't use the words like shattered or broken is because in flashes, the forehand was good. In fact, when I get to the keys to why Nadal was able to win the match, the forehand was kind of right up there, right? It was a shot that he needed. It was a shot that was an advantage in the match for him. But then sometimes it looked like, I don't even know how to put it. I mean, Nadal hit some embarrassing forehands in this match, legitimately. And not just one or two, because everybody has one or two embarrassing moments over the course of the match. There was like 10 or 15, and some of them seemed to correspond with the pressure building in the match. You know, misses on break points, misses in that third set when Draper was, you know, clearly going away, and it was time for Nadal to really put this thing on ice and step on the jugular vein, and he didn't. I mean, there was a big second serve return on a break point where Nadal almost swung and missed on the forehand. Stuff that just looked weird. I mean, misses by a crazy distance. So it's not that Nadal couldn't hit good forehands. He could. He hit some good ones. It's just that there was just mixed in with those good ones were really, really, really bad ones. Consistently mixed in. So the forehand, the consistency is not there. Not even close. All right. As for kind of the dynamics of this match, this is the main thing. I mainly just want to talk about one thing, and it's the comparison of Nadal and Draper's forehand. Draper's got an issue with his forehand. And by the way, he's a very complete player. I love his backhand. I love his serve. I love his movement. I like his volleys. There's a lot going for Jack Draper. The forehand is a problem because he can't really finish on it. So here's what happened in the first set. Draper had a bunch of approach shots, a bunch of attackable balls in the middle of the court, even in the midcourt, to try to finish. And he would hit drive approach shots, and on the first several instances of Draper attacking with his forehand approach shot, Nadal was able to cover the ball and get good looks at the passing shots. And on some occasions, he made the passing shot. On other occasions, he missed the passing shot, oftentimes only by a little bit. And that was definitely in Draper's head. Like, I'm not really getting the ball through the court. Nadal is reading and anticipating my forehand very well, and I'm just not really able to finish on these attackable forehands, and I feel like I'm going to start to really get passed all the time. So Draper in this 5-6 game goes to the drop shot. His drop shot kind of stinks. His drop shot's not good at all, Draper. Something to work on. So that was not a good solution. It was not a good solution to Draper's forehand not being able to finish. I will also point out that the other 2 points that Nadal won in this match, so it was 2 bad drop shots where Nadal got up to the ball and was able to pass Draper. The other 2 points were off of Nadal forehand down the lines, and they were off of Draper's weak forehand trades. So Draper's got an issue with finishing, and he's also got an issue with weight of shot on the trade, quality on the trade, which enables Nadal to change direction with his forehand down the line, really open up in that pattern. That was going to be there for Nadal in this matchup. So let's just get into kind of what Draper's forehand is. It's very similar. You'll hear me say similar things to what was wrong, especially with Ruud's backhand before he made some adjustments. There's a lot of topspin on Draper's forehand, but there's a lot of shape and there's not a lot of speed. So it's spinny and loopy. Ideally, he's able to hit that ball with less shape and more speed to get it through the court and to flatten it out. Not always, but at least sometimes, and definitely when you're trying to attack with it. Now, Draper gets away with this for two reasons. First of all, he gets away with it because he can hook that lefty forehand into the righty backhand. And, heavy, high-bouncing, top-spin forehand, even if it's not fast, even if it's not deep or strong, usually if you get it to a righty backhand, they're not going to hurt you. Most righty backhands are too weak. They won't hurt Jack Draper. Obviously, Nadal's forehand is a whole different story. And that's the problem for Jack in this matchup. It's why X's and O's wise, I really think Nadal from the back of the court, if he's not dominated in the serve return dynamic, if Draper isn't getting to net really easily, Nadal's got the advantage from the back here because of that forehand to forehand thing. But the reason why it doesn't kill Draper, even sometimes against Nadal, is because he does volley well. So he can make up for his lack of finishing ability off the ground with his forehand by just coming forward and kind of cleaning that up by finishing at net, which he did. He learned his lesson. End of the first set, Draper went to the drop shot to try to finish. Then in the third set, when he had break point, in the second set, when he had break point, instead he just hit an approach shot. And did he finish on the approach shot? No, Nadal had a look at the pass. But Nadal hit the pass too central, and Draper hit a really nice volley. So that, for now, until he fixes the forehand, is what he needs to do. Just keep coming forward, which he does, and hit approach shots and hope you don't get past. It's not ideal, but that's where we're at with Jack Draper because he can't really finish on the forehand. So Nadal was able to take advantage with his forehand down the line for sure. And that's really the only tactical point I feel the need to make here. I mean, this was all about Nadal grappling with the confidence on his forehand, and when he was confident on his forehand, Draper could do nothing in the physical state that he was in, and that's how the match played out. I mean, I want to give props to both players' attitudes. Both of them, again, dealing with difficult stuff, and they were able to fight through it and compete as hard as they can and compete with positivity. So that's that. Wish the best for Jack and Nadal. Look, the goal is to win early on in a major. It's not to play well, but he's going to have to play a lot better. I even think that Mackie McDonald has a chance if Nadal does not up his level in the second round. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.